I've never considered that my parents might have set up this trip for me to be assassinated, but you certainly can't rule it out. When my parents presented the idea of taking a mission trip to Mexico, I wasn't too keen on it. They presented the idea. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Doesn't seem like my thing. Next thing you know, they kind of signed me up for the trip. And then I was like, oh, crap, I guess I gotta go. It was such a shock to my system to arrive in Mexico. It was 40 degrees in Michigan. And then in Mexico, it was 110. When I left Michigan, I was wearing sweatpants and sweatshirt. And then the second I stepped out of the airport, it's just like this wave of heat that I've never felt before. And I immediately stopped, turned around, went and changed in the bathroom because it was just unbelievably hot. So when we first got there, it's super hot. Obviously, it's in the middle of the desert. You're with these people that you don't know, and we all just stayed in this one room. There is no air conditioning. The bathroom was nasty. The place smelled like shit. There was cockroaches crawling everywhere. They're huge. They're probably like at least that big. This is so much worse than I could have possibly thought. Either the first or second day, I went to get something from my bag, and there's cockroaches in it. So then after that, I always put my bag on the top bed so the cockroaches couldn't get to it. Try to kill these cockroaches, and it's like it does more damage to you than the cockroach. We would drive out to this kind of construction site in the middle of nowhere. It's just building this house for this homeless family. They assigned us with these 2 local contract workers. They didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Spanish. There'd be times where the worker is trying to ask me for like a hammer, but I have no idea what he's saying. So then he starts doing like hand gestures, making sounds, just really primitive ways of communication. I never had any experience with construction, cement. This was all new to me. You're basically just working construction for 8 hours of the day, and you go back to the dorm, and that's it. I got sunsick one of the days. I had just been outside so much that day in this intense heat, and then the next day, I just had to stay in bed all day being sunsick. The guy leading the trip, every once in a while he'd pick up some people from the site and just drive around in his truck that he had as a kind of a way of giving him a break. So first he takes us to this gas station. We get some Gatorade and whatnot. Then we get back on the road. And then he wants to stop by the family that we were building the house for and just like say hi to them, let them know how things are going. We're pulling up to kind of this little hut. The guy who wanted to see him, he talks to him, and he starts to tell us the cartel was in the mountain watching us approach. 'Cause normally the cartel are the only people in that area with nice cars. So then them seeing this nice brand new white truck, they knew something was up. They had this sniper protecting these people. They call down to the people. They're like, hey, do you recognize or do you know these people? There's this really nice white truck coming. Like, do you know who that is? And I was like, oh, no, these are my friends, they're coming to help. Don't shoot them. Once they tell us this, you just kind of instantly, you're like, you almost shit your pants. You're like, wait, what? There's no way. So things started to turn around for me and change my opinion of the trip. You could just see their gratitude in their faces, their body language, and that was extremely rewarding. We were able to finish the house. You just have this feeling of satisfaction, and you can see the fruits of your labor. For the last day of the trip, we went down to this orphanage. First, you almost feel like guilty. Here they are in this orphanage by themselves. We spent the day with them playing games, and they were always just so positive, so happy, and it just changes your perspective. So leaving the trip, I changed how I felt about my parents. Going into it, it was like, why are they making me do this? But then leaving the trip, I was extremely grateful that they had sent me on this trip. I'm gonna assume that they did not plot my assassination, but even if they did, I survived and it was a great trip.